All right, good morning, traders. Today is October 10th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for following, liking, subscribing to my content. Special shout out to Kathy Sour Roasted, Bob Jordan, John Jordan. Thank you for sharing the content. Appreciate that. It helps get the good word out there to the rest of the world. Thank you so much. All right, let's drill down. Let's take a look at markets and see what happened yesterday. All right, so my SPY pivot is 671.15. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. SPY, QQQ, both made new all-time highs yesterday. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross, but over the 17 EMA. IWM, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. FNGU, higher high, higher low, we like that. Closed over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Nice 10-minute uptrend. Silver made a new 14-year high. Gold, what did gold do? Gold made a lower high and a lower low. USO made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. UNG now in a daily uptrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish cross and under the 17 EMA. US dollar index remains in an uptrend now and closed near the 99.39 area. SPY max pain 670 with a put to call ratio of about 2.7 puts for each call that expires today. Today is options expiration Friday. They are capable of probably going to stall the clock, probably keep it inside the range, the opening range, for a good hour and a half, run out the clock, make a move, and then possibly pin it. We'll see what happens. There is a put squeeze on the table. Not sure if they're going to go after that. We do have a nice 10-minute uptrend from yesterday. So could be some continuation on that 10-minute uptrend. Let's take a look at SPY. Let's take a look at it over here on the 10-minute chart. Okay, so here's our 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Again, you got the price candles on top of the 3. That's the yellow line. That's the 3 EMA. All right, 3 and the price candles and the 3 up over the 8 EMA. All right, so we have a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour chart, all right, we have the price candles and the 3 are underneath the 8, so we have 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, you can see we made a new all-time high again yesterday on SPY. I'll pan way out. You can see we're at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, still in an uptrend. All right. Daily charts in an uptrend, weekly charts in an uptrend, monthly charts in an uptrend. 2-hour chart is in a weak $2 candle downtrend right now, all right, with a recovery that seems to be working already. So there's SPY on the 2-hour chart, all right. It's a weak 2-hour downtrend. We'll see what happens with that this morning. All right, so my favorite trade is the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside the 2-hour uptrend, that resides inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend. That's my favorite trade because I got all of the bigger time frames supporting my 10-minute uptrend. All right, so right now, possibly got that going on. In the 10-minute chart, you can see a nice 10-minute uptrend coming into the close right there. Now we'll take a look at the pre-market, and that's right here. And still got nice, okay, continuation of that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Over this candle right here, that breaks the rubber band candle right there, right on top of that one. That would break the rubber band candle. That's a nice 10-minute uptrend. To take that for the opening. Now, we're going to probably box off the first 15 minutes of trading. We got the overnight action, and we've got the See, here's some overnight action and some morning action. So we'll put down some, just create a parallel, duplicate it either way, and drag this down to here. All right, so a breakout of this range, I'm interested in trading. Not a spike, but a breakout of this range. I'll also box off the first 15 minutes. Okay, first 15 minutes. If we don't break out of the range, if we happen to break out of the range, I really don't need to box off the first 15 minutes because we already broke out, and that would be my trade. But if we don't box out, if we don't break out of the overnight pre-market action, all right, then I'm probably going to box off the first 15 minutes and look for a breakout of either side. Now, if I break out of the north side, I will probably look to take some profits right up here at the highs of the overnight or the morning action. All right, if we break out of the bottom, I'll be looking to take some profit on price as it comes into the overnight lows or the morning lows right here. Okay, don't forget gap fill. Price is notorious for breaking out of the bottom, hitting the gap fill, and then bouncing all the way back up and ripping through. All right, so that's a possibility also. So keep that in mind, that if we break out of the bottom and we do the gap fill thing, that there'll probably be a reversal back up to test the top side of the opening range or the top side of the overnight range or morning action right up here. Okay, so there's SPY. We have a game plan for SPY. We'll take a peek at that. Take a look at it without all the other stuff on there. All right, so we got green erases red over 673.25. Okay, that's a green erases red entry for me. Pivot 671.15. Above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath 669.20. Okay, so that's a red erases green entry down here. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right, now if a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP happens to manifest down here or here or here, either one, long before it gets to the green erases red entry, I'm not opposed to trading it. All right, as long as it breaks that bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, 10-minute, I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Now, if one were to manifest maybe here or in here or even way up here, okay, I'm not opposed to trading that to the downside long before it gets to my red erases green entry. All right, as long as it breaks the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, I like 7 days and 14 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. Multiples of 5 seem to have more open interest. More open interest is higher liquidity. Okay, I like strikes. I trade strikes that are $2 to $15 out of the money. I prefer that. It's a little less risk. All right, and a little less performance. Okay, you want more performance, you pay up more for it, and it'll cost you more, and it'll put more at risk. All right, just keep that in mind. Okay, if you want higher performance, there are in-the-money options that will give you close to penny for penny performance. All right, but you will pay up for those a lot more than you will on out-of-the-money options. When I'm starting on a small account, I like to trade out of the money because they're cheaper and I have more control over the option than I do when they're in the money, because they seem to fluctuate pretty wild when they're in the money. I like it when there's a penny, all right, between the bid and the ask. So if the ask is like 20 cents and the bid, I want the bid to be like 19 cents. I don't like it when I have a wide spread between the bid and the ask. I prefer it to be nice and tight so I can get filled without a lot of slippage. That's what I'm looking for. Now, my favorites, all right, for picking strikes. Okay, I like options that cost between 30 cents and $1.20. That's my favorite zone right in there. I mean, anywhere between 30 cents and $1.20. Over $1.20, then it's takes up a lot of my buying power, so I don't like that. So I tend to like roll out of it and roll into something that's a little bit cheaper that has some room to move for me. All right, so it's just my reasoning. Okay, so if I'm up around $1.20, I'll definitely not close them out just because I'm at $1.20. If they're still riding the 10-minute trend, I'll let them ride, but I'm not going to go out and purchase some more. I'll probably roll into start transitioning into something that's a little bit more out of the money, so that it has some room to move and it's a little bit cheaper. All right, so there's the SPY game plan. All right, again, 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Looking at yesterday's price action, there's a beautiful 10-minute downtrend under VWAP right there. Okay, beautiful 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, and then it bounced back to VWAP right there. So you got a little 10-minute downtrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Nice trading day right there. Nice. I like days with a nice V bottom or a peak top where I can trade it up and then trade it back down. I like that when I'm trading both sides, making money on both sides. It makes it nice and easy. I like those days. Can make quite a bit of money trading the reversal. All right, so there's some SPY on the 15-minute chart, but we trade the 10-minute downtrend, so that'd be located on the 10-minute chart. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ yesterday put in another new all-time high. Same thing on QQQ. I like 7 days and 14 days till expiration. Friday options, all right, 14 days and 17 days. Friday options on the multiple of 5, more open interest, higher liquidity. All right, again, I want to get in and out, not a lot of slippage. Okay, I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. All right, I prefer those. Again, they're not the performance, but they're not as much risk, and they're not as much buying power either. Okay, I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, and I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Same thing on QQQ as I do on SPY. I got green erases red over 611.80, pivot 608.40, red erases green underneath 604.20. Again, 10-minute downtrend happens to manifest up here. I'm not opposed to trading it as long as it breaks the 10-minute bearish rubber band candle. Keep in mind, you are playing counter trend or trading counter trend when you trade puts or sell short, okay, up here. All right, you're trading counter trend, meaning that it may not work out, okay, because you've got the dailies in an uptrend, the weeklies in an uptrend, and the monthly is in an uptrend, okay, for QQQ and SPY. So recognize that even if you do trade counter trend, there's a high possibility that it's not going to work out. Yesterday did, but it's not always like that all the time. Look at QQQ putting in the higher low. I suspect they will have a nice breakout and a rip to the upside today, looking at price action up here over 610. Nice look right there, higher low. Obviously, they're going to go explore a higher high. All right, and the bulls will be inspired because we made a higher low. So there's QQQ. All right, let's look at this on the 10-minute, and we'll take that off. So here's our 10-minute. 10-minute had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP here coming into the close yesterday. 2-hour chart is 2-hour uptrend. All right, coming into the close, notice the candles on top of the 3 on top of the 8. All 3 of them, the candles, the 3, the 8, up on top of a rising 17 EMA. Okay, so that's bullish, and that's in an uptrend right there. QQQ. Just want to see SPY for a second. Okay, now SPY, yeah, that's a downtrend. Okay. All right, back to QQQ. All right, back to QQQ. Daily chart. Okay, new all-time high. Okay, that's, see the green dots? That's bullish. It's still in an uptrend. Closing near the high of quadrant 4, so that's bullish. See this? All the green dots, that's bullish and in an uptrend. You can see the green dots here on the daily, the red dots, downtrend, uptrend, clearly an uptrend. Look at all the green dots. Look at price continue to make higher highs, okay, than the weeks before. QQQ. Weekly chart. See all the green dots? That's an uptrend. Monthly chart. See all the green dots? Uptrend right there. So monthly, weekly, daily, 2 hour, and QQQ all in uptrends. Let's go back to the daily chart. We already did we do? Yeah, we already did the game plan. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM got a higher low, higher high, closing in the bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA, top of quadrant 4. That is still bullish. Still in an uptrend. Diamond down. All right, diamond down, got a lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross, but over the rising 17. That's still bullish up at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, I'll pan way out. That's still bullish, still in an uptrend up there. Nothing's broken yet. Okay, on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. FNGU, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. That is up at the top of quadrant 4. Yep, that's bullish and in an uptrend. FNGU on the daily chart. Okay, weekly, monthly, also bullish as well on all of the Fab 5. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold made a lower high, lower low, closing in the bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. That up there at the top of quadrant 4. I'll pan way out. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. That's gold. Okay, let's take a look at silver. Okay, silver yesterday, huge candle up there. Silver, higher low, lower high, outside day, but made new 14-year high right there. Closing in on the all-time high. Day by day, gets closer and closer. Silver in a daily uptrend up there at the top of quadrant 4. That is bullish and still in an uptrend. This is the all-time high right there. We're getting close. So there's silver. Let's take a look at USO. All right, USO, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap and underneath the 17 EMA, still in a downtrend. Just neutral, goes up, gives it up. So unable to hold that higher ground, USO. Continues to go up and give it up. So that's neutral and in a downtrend right now. Just kind of chomping around right on top of the midpoint right there. UNG. All right, UNG in an uptrend, but not moving up. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath. Bearish cross underneath the 17 EMA. Down here in the middle of quadrant 1, that's still bearish. And still in an uptrend right now, okay? So there's UNG. Let's take a look at our technicals. See what we got here. T2101, okay, kind of bouncing out of the reversal zone and taking a move lower yesterday. It's 15-minute chart. We'll see where we go from there. We're going to go back down into the reversal zone and dig out a lower low. We'll see what happens. That's T21. Market breadth really low right down here. Not a lot of participation. You can see it's definitely reflected by T2101 right there. T2122. We find ourselves in the oversold zone all day long. Not the best place to be. All right. After pulling back from those new all-time highs recently, not in T2122, but in SPY and QQQ. So down here in the oversold zone, just stayed there all day long. You can see we got bounced out of the seller's chop zone. Airborne made a brief stop in the sell zone, but instead spent most of the time down here in the oversold zone. T2123, still 15-minute chart, still in a downtrend. Again, lower highs, lower lows. All right, so definite downtrend down here underneath the 200 SMA. That is bearish on the 15-minute chart because we're making lower highs and lower lows, and we're in a downtrend right there. Now we're back underneath the 200 SMA. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. This is in a downtrend. Got a low, made a lower low. All right, but still bullish up here at the top. This is the 3-bar chart, not the 15. Okay, the 15 is bearish. All right, the 3-bar chart is bullish. All right, because we're up here in the middle of quadrant 4. All right, price action up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish still, but in a downtrend, so no longer moving up. All right, so you got a low. They made a lower low. 3-bar chart in a downtrend. And that's looking like it wants to ramp up. We'll see what happens. FNGU. Nice day for FNGU. Today, yesterday was the 9th. You can see buying right out of the gate. All right. And then bulls picking up the higher low. All right. And closing out the frame with a higher high right there. All right. If you were bowling, all right, they closed out the frame with a higher high up there. Nice work on FNGU and up on top of the 200 SMA. So nice look. So buying just began out of the blue. You can see right here, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. And then all of a sudden, lots of buying coming in. All right. So there's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. That's in an uptrend. All right. And that's still bullish up over the 200 SMA. All right, let's take a look at our. Let's take a look at the dollar. Okay, dollar, still in a bear flag, but now in a daily uptrend. They got themselves in an uptrend. They see the high right here. They made a higher high. They closed near the 99. 39 area up here. All right, so they made a higher high right here, so that's a higher low and a higher high. So daily chart is in an uptrend, still in that bear flag. All right, so we got an uptrend in the bear flag right now. Max pain for today, 670 put to call ratio, 2.7 puts for each call that expires today. NASDAQ earnings, all right, or the earnings calendar. Nothing here that's going to be market moving. Just some familiar names, but nothing that's really going to move the markets. And on the economic calendar, as you can see yesterday, Mr. Powell did speak. Didn't seem to help the market much because we broke down. You can see we're getting delayed reports on jobless claims. All right. Of course, we didn't get the employment situation, I think, a week before. And you can see wholesale inventories got delayed as well. So what do we got going on today? Consumer sentiment at 10 and a rig count at 1. And then that's it. So light week right here. So we'll see what happens next week. All right, I'll take questions in the room. If there's no questions, I'll go ahead and render this video, get it out there for everybody in podcast land, in digital land, and cyber land. No questions right now? All right. Hope you all did good yesterday. Let's try to kick this day off, make a nice profitable day for us. Got conflicting data, I got to say, this morning, based on what we left off with last night. You can see T2123. Obviously a downtrend right there. But we got FNGU, obviously an uptrend. Now this has 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and SPY. So is this going to jerk this T2123 enough to make a nice positive gain? We'll see what happens. All right. All right, I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. Thank you. All right. And we'll open up the markets and trade them live.